The wife never expected her supposedly hated husband would die saving her right during their divorce. A horrific crash just to save her. Lying in a pool of blood, he gasps out a final wish for their next life. I hope we never meet again. Shen Buyu holds his bloody body totally shattered.
She weeps, hating herself to the core.
She always loved her husband, but her toxic pride ruined everything they had. Why did she push for divorce? Why did she let it end like this? He is gone. She spirals into a dark, empty depression. 1 year later, she swallows a massive dose of sleeping pills and closes her eyes with a tragic smile. I am coming to pay my debts. Then boom, back in their wedding room. Staring blankly into the vanity mirror, her trembling hand slowly reaches up to touch her face.
The touch is real. Her wrists are clean.
Not a single suicide scar. Suddenly, the phone beside her buzzes and lights up with a text. She checks it. The date on the screen reads May 11th.
No shot, guys! The regression trope is actually happening right here!
But what about him? Shen Buyu panics, like a drowning person desperate for a lifeline. Just the thought of seeing him again and fixing her mistakes brings instant tears to her eyes. She rushes out of the room in a complete panic. No cold, arrogant CEO vibe left. Honestly, she always loved him. Back when her mother was dying, her husband gave up his entire startup savings to save her mom, leaving her deeply indebted. He was always sweet, but once her company got on track, his career stalled while she thrived. She wanted control.
Always needing to be dominant, a total toxic trap.
Cue the endless arguments. Constant fighting, separate bedrooms, straight to divorce. Building massive walls between them, standing outside the registration bureau. Pure regret. But before she can speak, tragedy strikes. They got dragged into a random couple's street drama. Talk about terrible luck. To marry his mistress, that drove his furious wife to slam her car forward, ramming straight into the cheating couple, sweeping up Shen Buyu and her husband nearby. He instinctively pushes her away. By the time she scrambled up from the ground, she saw absolute horror. Her husband was already lying in a pool of blood, gone. Her entire life lost meaning. The one man who gave her everything was dead. Gone forever. She hated herself. If she had not been so toxic, none of this would have happened. Now she runs into the living room and finds him sitting on the couch, just steps away. She stares at him in a total daze. The sheer joy of reunion and her past regrets explode inside her. But his cold words drag her back. Let us get a divorce, he says. Look over this agreement. If everything looks fine, sign it so we can hit the bureau tomorrow. It feels like falling into an ice cave. Honestly, this cold reality check is low-key heartbreaking. Their marriage crisis is still very real, and they are completely on the brink. If she can't turn things around, this new life will just end in the exact same tragedy. Even if she prevents that brutal car crash, the two of them will still end up as total strangers. The man she loves most will become another woman's husband, giving away the love that was meant for her. She can't let another woman have him, so she begs, "Honey, can we please not divorce?" Seeing Shen Buyu tear up like this hits different, maybe because he hasn't heard her call him that in years. It actually feels incredibly strange now. Our guy looks up, staring at Shen Buyu. Back in college, she was an absolute goddess, the ultimate untouchable cold beauty. Now she's somehow even more stunning, like a flawless glowing moon. But that spark? Completely gone. He just sighs, telling her he's exhausted. It's time to set each other free. Ending this early is honestly better for everyone. She's not the woman he married anymore, and honestly, she completely lost herself in this relationship. Their happy home became a freezing prison. I mean, what kind of married couple sleeps in separate beds? He wanted kids, but she constantly pushed it off with excuse after excuse. They literally agreed on all of this before marrying. He takes a deep breath. No point in arguing. There are so many past issues he doesn't even want to dig up. She asks if his cold shoulder is just his way of demanding a divorce. Fine, she says. Let's just sign it and get this over with tomorrow. Every single word feels like a physical knife twisting deep in Shen Buyu's chest. She begs him, admitting she failed as a wife, and asks for just one more chance. She promises she'll be the perfect wife from now on, loving him for the rest of her days. Her voice completely cracks, tears pooling in her eyes, leaving him totally stunned. Like this ice queen of a wife is actually crying because he wants out? Does she actually care, or is this just a classic case of only caring once it's gone? Or maybe she's just worried about her assets? Honestly, remembering how suffocating their marriage has been, he's done. His mind is completely made up. Sign the papers or not, this marriage is over. For the sake of their history, he just wants a clean break. He leaves the divorce papers on the table and walks away, heading straight to his room. Leaving Shen Buyu standing alone in the quiet living room, every cold word echoing in her head. She knows she's the one who broke his heart, but no matter what it takes, she has to earn his forgiveness. Shen Buyu refuses to lose him again. At this point, she'd do anything to avoid that pain. Meanwhile, our guy is in the shower, letting the warm water wash over him. This whole confrontation definitely didn't go how he expected. If this was the woman he first married, he could easily say she loved him. But as her company grew into a massive empire, everything shifted. The gap between them only widened, and her gentle warmth completely vanished. Cue the endless cold shoulders and arguments. Their once perfect life became an absolute disaster. Is there even any love left between them? He finishes his shower and boots up his laptop. After wrapping up some quick work, he's ready to crash, but then a knock at the door ruins his plans. Shen Buyu's heart is heavy. Seriously, once a marriage becomes a power struggle, nobody wins. She can't believe they've let things get so bad that they're sleeping in separate rooms. Needing to knock just to step inside her own husband's room? Aside from a piece of paper, how is this any different from being random roommates? He opens the door to find Shen Buyu standing there in a stunning white nightgown. That cold, untouchable goddess vibe she usually has actually seems a lot softer tonight. She looks incredibly gentle. She softly asks him to come back to the master bedroom. She even made the bed for him, her usually icy voice laced with genuine warmth. But our guy is skeptical. If he remembers correctly, she was the one who demanded separate rooms. He just lays out the cold, hard facts. They've been separated for so long. I have been sleeping alone for ages, so you should really think about what I said tonight. The door shuts, ending their conversation. Shen Buyu knows warming his cold heart will not be easy. And honestly, can we blame him? Broken-hearted, she still feels totally crushed. Back when they first married, they were so sweet, refusing to leave bed. That memory is just a luxury now. She walks into the bedroom. The room is silent. On the nightstand, a beautifully framed wedding photo still rests on top of it. Shen Buyu gently picks it up, tracing his face with her fingertips. Memories flood in. She desperately misses him. She spends the entire night brainstorming how to win him back. With time running out, she finally falls asleep right before dawn. The next morning, our guy walks downstairs. There is no sign of Shen Buyu, just dead silence. This place stopped feeling like home long ago, so he grabs his keys. He drives straight to work. By 9 a.m., bright sunlight streaming through the window finally wakes her up. She originally wanted to cook him a fresh breakfast like old times. But since she completely missed her chance, she quickly tries to find another way to make it up. He walks into his office as a cheerful voice calls out a "Good morning, boss." Meet Chen Qingqing, his assistant, who joined during the company launch. She knows him too well. She can tell he is in a bad mood, so she quickly brews some tea. Sales are up, so what is bothering him? As our guy sips his tea, Chen Qingqing steals a quiet glance at his face, before quickly looking away. Putting his cup down, he immediately dives into his tasks, since things have been incredibly hectic lately. By noon, he is still working hard. "You need to eat to stay healthy," Chen Qingqing says playfully, as she lays out a delicious home-cooked meal, asking if he has eaten yet. "Of course, how else can I serve you?" Just then, a cold figure walks right into the office. It is Shen Buyu. Dressed in a suit, she looks incredibly powerful. She looks like a total Ice Queen CEO, holding a beautifully packed lunchbox. Everyone goes dead silent. Our guy is shocked, while Shen Buyu watches the assistant arrange his lunch.
Seeing another woman serve her husband gives her a major pang of jealousy.
He quickly tells Chen Qingqing to leave.
The assistant is totally stressed, having no clue her playful teasing would get caught.
By his actual wife. Honestly, this assistant drama is getting spicy.
She hopes they will not fight as she leaves the couple alone in the room.
Shen Buyu stays silent for a moment before softly saying she brought him lunch. All her cold boss energy melts, turning her into a gentle wife as she opens the elegant wooden boxes.
Every dish is his absolute favorite, and she watches him stand up to greet her.
She gets all excited thinking he is finally going to eat with her. But she is instantly disappointed when she sees two different lunches on the table. Feng Shu straight up ignores hers, chooses the other one, and coldly asks, "Why the sudden change of heart about the divorce? Are you worried about how we will split the assets? If that is the issue, you can honestly rest easy. I can support myself, so I am not going after your money."
She begs, saying she never wanted to divorce him, but his cold reply of, "Is that so?" has zero trust.
He tells her to save those words for the 24-year-old Shen Buyu. At least back then, she actually loved him. He still remembers how things went south. Purely because of the gap in their wealth and status. Yet here she is, acting all sweet. Like they are back in the honeymoon phase. Honestly, you can't blame him for being skeptical. Shen Buyu wants to argue, but she literally has no excuse. In their past fights, she really was selfish, constantly trying to make him submit to her. Which brought them to this point. She pleads, "Hubby, please believe me. I never once wanted a divorce. You have always been the only one in my heart. I don't expect you to forgive me right away after all the pain I put you through. If there is any kind of compensation you want, just name it. And as long as I can do it, I won't refuse." Even after hearing her pour her heart out, Feng Shu remains completely unfazed. He doesn't even give her a sliver of hope, just going right back to his lunch. This cold shoulder feels like salt on her open wounds, giving her a sharp, stabbing pain. She flashes back to how sweet they were when they first got married, with zero awkward silences. They used to share every little detail of their day and never get bored.
He'd even put food on her plate. It was beautiful. But now they can't even stand a single word.
Shen Buyu knows words are cheap now. If she wants her husband back, she has to show real action. After watching him finish his meal in absolute silence, she knows she has to leave. Overstaying will only annoy him more, so she decides to take things slow and try again tonight at home. She reminds him not to overwork himself and to take breaks when he needs to. Take care of your health, she says, and don't worry about money. She gives him one last lingering, reluctant look before finally walking out. But Feng Shu just tunes her out. He knows if he actually starts spending her cash, he'll just have to quietly endure her cold shoulder, and he will lose all his rights. And courage to ever ask for a divorce again. Besides, he never cared about her wealth. If he were a gold digger, he would have dumped Shen Buyu years ago to fund his own startup instead of spending his hard-earned cash on her mother's medical bills. Back in the car, her female driver carefully asks, "President, are we going back to the office or the shopping mall?" Shen Buyu just stares out the window. Today is a pretty special day. It is their wedding anniversary. She wants to pick out some gifts herself, so they head straight to the city's top shopping mall. Shen Buyu personally buys him everything from head to toe: suits, ties, shoes, luxury watches, and even sports cars. The sales staff are low-key jealous of her mystery husband. Honestly, she is a total catch. Not only is she gorgeous, but she is also super thoughtful, dropping cash on 2 sports cars at once. She only bought 2 because the latest model requires a pre-order, so she got an in-stock one for now. Is this even real life? Shen Buyu is literally built different when it comes to spoiling him. Honestly, buying stuff for him felt way better than spending money on herself. Suddenly, her phone rings. But plot twist, it is not her husband. The caller asks if Buyu has been free lately. "I have a new resort business. Are you interested in coming to check it out with me?" A gorgeous and incredibly sweet voice echoes from the other end of the line. It is her friend Shen Wanji on the line. They worked together once before. Since they clicked back then, they ended up becoming pretty close friends. But right now, Shen Buyu only wants to be near her husband, and that trip would take at least 2 or 3 days. She has zero desire to leave, telling her friend she has a very important matter to handle.
So she cannot go. Shen Wanji asks if her company is going through some tough times.
Suddenly, Shen Buyu realizes that a charming woman like Wanji might actually understand men better.
So she asks Wanji how on earth she can win back a man's heart.
She assumes a gorgeous, elegant woman like Shen Wanji must have tons of guys chasing her,
And would know exactly how men think. But in reality, Shen Wangguan has only ever loved one person. She shuts out all her suitors, making her way more innocent than our main girl. Bro, shifting from business talk straight to relationship drama is a wild jump. But hey, everyone loves relationship gossip. Still, Shen Wanzi definitely did not see this coming.
She never expected a powerful woman like Shen Buyu to actually have love troubles.
Like, with such a stunning wife, any husband should be treating her like absolute royalty.
Is our ice queen just too cold? Shen Wanzi instantly pinpoints the issue.
And she brings out her own tiny bit of dating experience, asking if Buyu is usually just too distant. Could that be making her husband lose hope in their marriage? Why care about pride between a couple?
At the end of the day, they are supposed to be the closest people in the world. So just swallow your pride and act like a wife.
Once he feels your warmth, his desire to leave will slowly melt away. Honestly, those words instantly wake Shen Buyu up. Exactly. Desperate times call for desperate measures, and she realizes her narrow-mindedness from last night. She had been overthinking things, but as the old saying goes, if the mountain won't come to you, then you must go to the mountain. If he won't sleep in the master room, she can easily go to the guest bedroom. It does not matter if it looks a bit desperate. Once her husband falls asleep, she can just sneak in using a spare key. Sometimes being too polite only keeps people apart. They are still officially married, right? So sharing a bed is totally normal. Couples sleeping together is literally the most natural thing ever. I get it now, she says. Shen Wanji is glad her limited experience could help her friend. She recalls how back when she had fights with her own crush, all she had to do was soften her tone, say sweet things, and buy him his favorite pastries. And things would usually blow over, but Shen Wanji knows one crucial thing. This trick only works if they still love you. But she tells Buyu not to worry. If she takes the initiative, there is no way her husband will stay cold forever. It is only a matter of time. Even the most loving couples fight, after all. The only difference is how they handle the conflict. Shen Wanzi's words give Shen Buyu a major confidence boost. With her worries cleared, the female CEO immediately switches her focus back to business. As a regressed female CEO, she knows exactly what is going to happen in the future. Some business opportunities are too huge to monopolize, so she needs a trusted partner to plan with. The two female bosses chat for about 30 minutes before finally hanging up. Shen Buyu glances at her elegant watch. It is already 2 p.m. She still has 4 hours left before she can see him. Meanwhile, in another office, a beautiful and lively girl nervously walks into the office, asking if he got into another massive fight with his wife. She speaks with zero confidence. Talk about awkward. Her casual venting got caught red-handed by the boss himself. What does she even mean by needing energy to serve him? Just how does she plan to serve? It's obvious Chen Qingqing has feelings for him, but the professional boss-employee boundary is a massive gap. Plus, the wedding ring on his finger acts as an absolutely unbreakable barrier, constantly reminding Chen Qingqing that this handsome, built-different guy is strictly for looking, not touching, no crossing lines. If assistants had ranking tiers, Chen Qingqing would easily be S tier. With her around, she shoulders so much stress for him. She's basically irreplaceable. As he flips through another proposal, he recalls how he used to think fighting was their biggest problem. But the real tragedy, and low-key heartbreaking twist, is when you don't even care enough to fight. Seeing her boss acting completely unfazed with a deadpan expression, Chen Qingqing decides to leave it alone. Having spent so many years in the corporate game, our main character knows exactly what she's worried about. He sets the files down and tells her to just focus on her work and stop overthinking everything. Chen Qingqing is genuinely shocked that he let the whole thing slide so easily. As the sun finally sets, he wraps up his tasks for the day. There's no need to pull overtime tonight, so he drives back home. He parks his car, turns on some old songs, and just sits there listening before stepping out. Honestly, once a marriage starts to crumble, your car low-key becomes your second home. But the moment he steps inside, he's greeted by a surprisingly lavish dinner setup. The table is packed with a delicious feast, the amazing aroma instantly filling the room.
It's enough to warm any tired worker's heart. Turns out, Shen Buyu is actually waiting for him.
Her usual cold vibe is completely gone, replaced by a gentle, soft warmth. It literally feels like their honeymoon phase again. She tells him he had a long day and urges him to eat first, walking over with a sweet smile. She reaches out to help him take off his suit jacket, but compared to his daily reflexes, she's just too slow. He slips it off himself in a matter of seconds. Seriously, when was the last time Shen Buyu actually dressed him or helped him tie his necktie? He can't even remember. Seeing him do it himself, Shen Buyu is left standing there awkwardly. But she doesn't give up. Finally, it's dinner time. Since they started sleeping in separate rooms, dinner is the only time they ever cross paths. When you don't even share a bedroom, communication completely dies out. Today is their wedding anniversary, and of course he remembers. But when a marriage is already this dead, there's literally nothing left to celebrate. Shen Buyu remembers too, but she's low-key too terrified to even bring it up.
After all, she is the absolute main culprit behind their broken marriage, so she deserves this cold shoulder.
Hearing the words wedding anniversary come from her mouth would just sound like a bad joke, so he focuses all his attention straight on the delicious food. The maid's cooking is getting better by the day. An elite female CEO like her doesn't know how to cook anyway, nor did she ever need to. So he eats without a single care, but seeing his total lack of interest in talking to her, Shen Buyu's eyes instantly dim with sadness. Honestly, you reap what you sow, and she is finally paying the price.
And this reality is just too bitter to swallow. She softly calls him hubby
and gently asks if he wants to see the gift she bought him. She slides a supercar key onto the table, its luxury logo instantly stealing the spotlight. Under the warm dining lights, a luxury watch sits inside an elegant, polished box. Its crystal dial catches the glare, flashing brilliantly, screaming pure luxury. But our boy barely glances at it before looking back at his plate, muttering that he has his own ride and watch. They might not be high-end, but they get the job done. He tells her to stop wasting cash, then drops the real bomb, asking if she finally made up her mind about the divorce. That cold, calm tone hits Shen Buyu like a physical blow. Honestly, she deserves it, but she just dodges the question entirely. She quickly brushes it off, forcing a smile and saying a wife spending money on her husband is never a waste. Everything of hers belongs to him, and besides, didn't he once empty his entire bank account just for her? She asks if he is only acting like this because he hates the brand of the watch or the sports car. Since she already bought them, she just wants him to take them. He slowly sets down his chopsticks. Wow, so she actually remembers the past. Took her long enough. Thankfully for her, a sudden ringtone breaks the suffocating silence, saving her from having to answer. It gives them both a second to breathe. When he sees it is his mother calling, his tense expression softens. Letting out a heavy sigh, he forces his voice to sound calm as he answers, "Hey, Mom." He asks if she has eaten, and she happily replies that she and his dad are currently strolling through the park.
She warms his heart, reminding him to stay healthy with the changing seasons.
But he knows her too well. 9 times out of 10, she is calling to pressure him about having kids. And the divorce? He only discussed it with his dad. He kept his mother completely in the dark because of her fragile health. She has asthma and gets anxious easily. Telling her about the split would only worry her, and she can't do anything about it anyway. It is better to keep her in blissful ignorance for as long as possible so she does not lose sleep. His dad, already fully updated. After quietly smoking a couple of cigarettes, his dad simply told him, "If you are not happy, just get a divorce." He can decide for himself. If the in-laws want to look down on his boy just because they got rich, so be it. Why keep clinging? Completely clueless about the drama, his mom immediately brings up the grandkid topic again. She eagerly asks if there's any news about Buyu's belly yet, reminding him that they are both turning 30 soon, so it is definitely time to start a family. He quickly reassures her that they have a plan and tells her to just focus on enjoying her retirement. He tells her not to stress. Shen Buyu is constantly swamped with work, he explains. And honestly, so is he. It is the classic, foolproof excuse to shut down the baby talk. It is basically paper thin. Beside him, Shen Buyu hangs on to every single word of their conversation. In the quiet room, she can easily catch the drift of his mother's eager questions. Getting tired of his vague answers, his mom finally loses her patience. She demands to speak directly to her daughter-in-law, but he quickly lies, saying she is in the shower. Hearing him shut her out like that breaks Shen Buyu's heart. It feels like she is officially losing her place as his wife. Honestly, our boy has zero regrets, and I totally agree with him here. Back when he desperately wanted a child, she was the one who coldly rejected him. They had a clear agreement before marriage, and if she had just kept her promise, their child would be running around calling them mom and dad by now, and maybe they wouldn't even be divorcing. Since she never wanted kids in the first place, she shouldn't complain about him dodging the subject. In his eyes, he is not taking away her rights. He is actually saving her from a major headache. Fortunately, his dad steps in and cuts his mom off, finally bringing the painful call to an end. He asks what his mother said, but she just brushes it off since he left right after dinner, leaving Shen Buyu all by herself with nothing but the sports car keys on the table.
She has zero appetite.
Suddenly, Shen Buyu's phone rings and it's her mother-in-law, who definitely timed this call perfectly. She asks about her health and the old lady cheerfully replies that she is doing fantastic. Then comes the big, awkward question. When are she and Feng Shu finally planning to have a baby? Mom reminds her that having kids too late is risky, and she is already 27. If they wait any longer, the medical risks are only going to go up. Shen Buyu agrees with her, promising she will discuss the matter with her husband very soon. Hearing her sweet daughter-in-law agree so easily, the mother finally lets out a sigh of relief. They chat for just a few minutes before hanging up, not wanting to disturb the young couple. In Shen Buyu's eyes, her mother-in-law has always been incredibly sweet and understanding. She never meddles in their marriage, making this the very first time she has ever brought up kids. But honestly, she realizes it really is time for them to start a family. The idea is beautiful, sure, but making it happen is going to be incredibly tough. Shaking off her heavy thoughts, she grabs her clothes and steps into a warm, steamy shower. Staring into the steam-covered mirror, she is still absolutely stunning, elegant, and drop-dead gorgeous. Yet she cannot stop thinking about that new assistant she saw in the office, Chen Qing. That girl is nowhere near her level in looks or figure, but she has this lively, refreshing vibe. It is a rare quality, especially after working hard all day. Just looking at her or talking to her for a few minutes can make all your stress melt away. Honestly, can we even blame her? Normally, she would never fear a simple rival like this, but she knows her husband's heart is already drifting away. They are nothing like they were during their honeymoon when they were completely inseparable. No matter how gorgeous she is, it means nothing if he stops loving her, and her gut warns her that this new assistant definitely does not have pure intentions and low-key wants her man. When you have already lost and regained someone once, your possessiveness goes completely through the roof. She refuses to let any outside threat ruin her marriage, and a dark plan begins to form in her mind.
She has to make Chen Qing quit, while Feng Shu goes back home and showers just like normal.
He turns on his laptop, completely clueless that his mother has already bypassed him. She called Shen Buyu directly behind his back to pressure her about having kids. Honestly, he is a married man, but he is low-key living like a total bachelor. Just then, his long-dead high school group chat suddenly lights up with plans for a reunion. Feng Shu glances at the buzzing chat, but decides to keep quiet and ignore it. He quietly exits because modern reunions are usually just fake networking and bragging anyway. After scrolling through some news headlines, a wave of deep exhaustion hits him. Lights out. But in the middle of the night, the soft sound of the door handle turning slowly wakes him from his sleep. The room is pitch black, making the gorgeous silhouette of the visitor look incredibly mysterious. Guided by the faint, weak glow of the nightlight, Shen Buyu quietly steps inside. She can barely make out her husband's back as she climbs onto the bed. Wrapping her arms around him from behind, a wave of pure comfort washes over her. Instantly, the sleeping Feng Shu jolts wide awake as her incredibly soft, warm, and fragrant body presses tightly against his back. The gentle touch is softer than clouds, and he immediately knows it is Shen Buyu. He ignores her, assuming she will leave. Who would have thought she'd be this forward? Is this really the same cold, calculative Shen Buyu? The elite, ultra-rich wife who used to look down on everyone, since her husband refuses to sleep in the master bedroom?
She decides she'll just squeeze into the guest room with him. But before she can even speak, he immediately pulls her arms off his waist and her embrace instantly becomes empty.
Since you won't sleep in the main room, I'll go there. Just don't follow me, he says. He coldly adds that thanks to her, he got used to sleeping alone a long time ago. Honestly, having her around just ruins his sleep, so he gets straight out of bed. Just like that, Shen Buyu is left all alone in the quiet room, feeling completely lost. But hey, a cold heart doesn't melt overnight, and winning him back was never going to be easy.
Way too optimistic.
Deep down, she knew he'd reject her, but it still hurts like crazy.
Hearing him shut her down so brutally sends a massive wave of grief straight to her chest.
It forces Shen Buyu to remember the time she was the one demanding separate rooms.
Talk about instant karma. Knowing she deserves this pain, she whispers a quiet apology to the empty air. Clutching the blanket that still smells like him, she plays back that tiny, fleeting hug in her mind. At this point, she realizes she is officially the dumbest woman on the planet.
She literally ruined her own perfect marriage and absolutely shattered the heart of the man who loved her.
Why did she ever try to force him to bow down? In love, winning the argument means losing the person. The blanket is soft, sure, but it can never replace the warmth of the man she loves. It does nothing to fill the void in her chest. When she wrapped her arms around him earlier,
Shen Buyu regretted her cold decisions more than ever. She had happiness right there and threw it away.
instead, she pushed him away. Now she tries to bury her grief, terrified of where her mind will go. It hurts too much.
Nothing but pure regret. Honestly, guys, she actually has a whole master plan to win him back.
But pushing him tonight is a bad move. His patience is at 0. She needs to back off. Fighting off insomnia, she clings to his lingering scent on the sheets.
And finally drifts off, only to plunge right back into that same recurring nightmare.
In the dream, he still cannot escape his tragic fate, collapsing into a pool of blood.
The next morning, even without his phone, the husband's internal clock wakes him up right on time. He gets ready and heads back to get his suit, only to find Shen Buyu is already awake. Her long, dark hair flows all the way down to her waist. Soft morning light spills through the window, framing her in a dreamy glow. It is a gorgeous view, acting as if last night's brutal argument never even happened.
She gently asks if he slept well, pointing out the clothes she laid out for him.
A perfectly ironed suit sits right there on the bed, but he completely ignores it. Talk about a cold shoulder. He goes straight to the closet, ignoring her completely. He grabs his usual outfits, leaving Shen Buyu standing there, helplessly watching him. If he won't even look at her, there is no way he's letting her tie his necktie. She remembers their early days when she lovingly tied his tie every single morning. Back then, he would always kiss her, and they would constantly lose track of time. But once her business took off and she got insanely busy, the power dynamic shifted. She became cold, distant, and obsessed with status.
She did everything to dominate the marriage, treating him like an afterthought.
Now she wants to be a loving wife again, but her husband won't even give her the time of day. Our guy Yu gets dressed up, looking absolutely sharp and oozing top-tier male lead energy. Shen Buyu basically tells him, look, if you think I am refusing a divorce just to secure my share of our wealth, I can literally transfer all my company shares to your name. After all, you are a businessman. He knows exactly how insane of a fortune that is, but he just calmly adjusts his cuffs like it is nothing. That is your property, he says. It has absolutely nothing to do with me. If you really want this, then just sign the divorce papers I gave you last time. But there is no shot he is agreeing to that. He just finishes breakfast and drives off to work. Good morning, boss. His assistant Chen Qingqing greets him, looking as bright and energetic as ever. Make me some tea, he orders, and having escaped a major scolding earlier, she works extra hard today. Little did she know, the real trouble is just getting started. Right as she leaves work that evening, a luxury sedan slowly pulls up right next to her, and the window rolls down. One look, and Chen Qingqing knows she is absolutely cooked. Cut to them sitting inside a cafe. Shen Buyu sits right across from her, keeping a calm face while quietly sizing the girl up.
The assistant comforts herself. Sure, she low-key likes her boss, but she has not done anything out of line.
Don't be scared. Liking someone isn't a crime, Shen Buyu finally says, before asking if she wants a new job.
Chen Qingqing just listens as this insanely gorgeous woman starts laying down some unbelievably good offers. We are talking a massive top-tier company and a high-ranking management position. The salary is insane, and for a girl, joining a massive cosmetics group is the ultimate dream. It is basically the equivalent of a gamer getting hired by his favorite studio. Naturally, she is tempted. But she keeps her head. I do not really have any plans to change jobs right now, she says. And honestly, I do not think I have the skills for that role yet, but thank you for the offer.
Is the money not enough? Shen Buyu asks, taking a slow sip of her coffee.
She lets out a soft cough, probably catching a cold last night. The assistant quickly adds that there is no need for hostility. She explains that she and the boss are strictly professional, just manager and assistant, nothing more. Whatever she heard in the office the other day was a total, complete misunderstanding. Besides, with a wife as stunningly beautiful as her, how could the boss ever look at anyone else? She bids her farewell, politely asking to leave if there's nothing else to discuss. She walks out looking totally composed, but inside, her heart is absolutely hammering.
This is her first time experiencing the sheer, terrifying pressure of dealing with the legal wife face to face.
Offering massive career upgrades just over a tiny joke? Talk about toxic levels of possessiveness, right? But deep down, the assistant is still feeling guilty because, well, she really does have feelings for our guy. Back in the cafe, Shen Buyu sighs. It is pretty clear the assistant actually has feelings for her husband. Otherwise, there is no way an ordinary assistant would turn down a massive career jump like that. Time to go home. She misses him. Later that night, when everything is quiet. Our main character has a habit of working out daily, so he always sleeps like a rock. Suddenly, the bedroom door slowly creaks open, and a gorgeous, slender silhouette slips inside. It is Shen Buyu, and this time he does not push her away, because, well, you cannot refuse a hug when asleep.
She gently caresses his face, her eyes shining with pure, unfiltered love and deep affection.
But just holding him isn't enough for her. She slowly leans in closer. Their noses are almost touching, and she gently presses her soft lips against his. In this quiet moment, it feels like time is winding back to the sweetest days of their marriage. Back when they shared a bed every night, she was always a super light sleeper. She would often wake up way before him, and back in those days, she could not help but steal a sweet little kiss while he was still fast asleep. She would just lie there and gaze at him, never getting tired of looking at his face. She wanted to be the first thing he saw upon waking, even if she got caught stealing a sneaky kiss. Sure, she would have been punished, but looking back, they really were completely inseparable. She desperately wants to pull him closer, yet fears waking him.
She whispers, "Please love me one more time, and if you stay silent, I will take it as a yes."
Shen Buyu mutters softly, lying to herself just to find a little bit of comfort. Honestly, she is too terrified to face a future where they actually divorce and he finds someone else. The man who once adored her, now belonging to someone else. Every memory completely shattered. Reclaiming what was lost is unmatched. It is the ultimate relief. But on the flip side, the worst pain comes next. Realizing they lost what was once theirs. And knowing it is her own fault. The night grows deep, bringing heavy exhaustion. With her husband right by her side, Shen Buyu finally lets her guard down and relaxes. She drifts off. This time, there is no blood-soaked nightmare. Instead, she is trapped in a raging fire. It is pure agony. The next morning, our boy wakes up to find her in his arms. She is gorgeous, but his thoughts are a total mess. Drenched in sweet sweat from changing seasons. The flu is going around, and Shen Buyu was already coughing a bit yesterday. She completely ignored it for work. Plus, she spent all night trying to win him back. Physically and mentally, she is completely drained. And boom, she is running a fever. Our guy frowns, but she refuses to let go. Even through her clothes, he can feel the intense burning heat of her slender body. Her gorgeous face has this unhealthy flush, and when he checks her forehead, it is absolutely boiling. He tries waking her up, and Shen Buyu slowly opens her watery, dazed eyes. With flushed cheeks, she whimpers, "Husband, I feel so sick." She is totally helpless now, completely obedient. An absolute contrast to her usual Ice Queen self. But after years of marriage,
He is completely unfazed.
he sighs, telling her that a fever obviously sucks, so she needs to get up for the hospital. Shen Buyu curses her terrible timing. Her big plan to win him back is not even started yet. Now she just looks like a burden. Talk about terrible luck. The brutal chills make her crave his warm embrace. She begs him not to go to the hospital, just call her private doctor using her phone. He grabs her phone. Wow, it is still the last 6 digits of their wedding date. He finds the contact and dials. The doctor asks about her symptoms and respectfully promises to be there in a flash. He tells her to drink first, gently helping his wife sit up. Every point of contact is incredibly soft and warm. She whimpers that she is cold, wanting closer contact. He simply helps her lie down and tucks her in. Soon, the female doctor arrives. She goes through the entire checkup routine, takes her temperature, and dispenses the meds. She explains to our boy that his wife has a fever caused by the seasonal flu.
She needs rest, and the pills will make her sleepy.
After wrapping up all the medical advice, the doctor politely takes her leave. Our boy steps out of the room for a quick second, leaving Shen Buyu alone in bed. She actually thinks he just abandoned her to run off to his corporate job. Honestly, when people get sick, they get super fragile, both physically and mentally. They get incredibly restless and start overthinking absolutely everything. At this point, Shen Buyu is no longer that high and mighty corporate overlord.
She is not the cold, unapproachable female CEO anymore. She is just super sick with a fever.
Just a vulnerable wife wanting to lean on her husband. He asks what she is doing. He heads back to the master bedroom only to see Shen Buyu throwing off the covers. His voice sounds totally cold and commanding, showing zero tenderness for his sick wife.
She literally begs him, "Honey, can you please skip work today and just stay home with me?"
To be fair, Shen Buyu looks so vulnerable and gorgeous right now that you just want to protect her. Think about it. This is the same ice-cold female CEO who is now begging him with pleading eyes. It is like she cannot bear to lose sight of him for even a second. He is her entire world. He realizes she is completely out of it from the fever because, hello, it is literally the weekend.
As she lies down, she begs him not to divorce her. He just takes her used medicine packaging.
He just tosses it straight into the trash without giving her a single word of reply. This reminds him of the first year of their marriage, when she had a fever too. Back then, she would snuggle in his arms, whispering that they would stay together forever. She promised to love him endlessly, but the moment she got her way, pure silence. That sweet, gentle wife completely vanished, turning into a literal iceberg that would never melt. So yeah, our guy is completely immune to her acting cute now and does not believe a single word. Soon, the medicine kicks in and Shen Buyu starts feeling incredibly drowsy. She desperately wants to sleep, but she forces her eyes open, waiting for his answer. But she never gets it, and before she knows it, she drifts off to sleep. Who knows how much time passes, but Shen Buyu wakes up completely drenched in sweat. Luckily, her fever is finally gone. She sits up and looks around the room. The warm glow of the sunset is spilling through the window, looking absolutely beautiful. To Shen Buyu, it only makes the room feel emptier because his spot is completely vacant. She is all alone in the master bedroom, so she quietly calls out for her husband. Crickets. Nobody answers, and that crushing feeling of being abandoned by the whole world hits her again. But thankfully, footsteps start echoing from down the hallway a moment later. His tall figure appears right at the doorway, instantly putting Shen Buyu's anxious heart at ease. He silently checks her forehead to make sure her fever broke, then brings over a warm bowl of porridge. All he does is make sure she finishes her porridge and medicine, while she does not even dare to dream of him. Forget about spoon-feeding her like the old days. He simply cleans up the trash and leaves. As he carries the bowl out, the entire bedroom falls right back into dead silence. The male lead heads to his own side bedroom to take a shower, but when he steps out, there is Shen Buyu, who actually followed him all the way here, tucked under his blanket and waiting. She looks so incredibly fragile, totally terrified that he might just abandon her tonight. Honestly, even before getting sick, she could barely handle how much she missed him every single night.
So being sick makes her crave his warmth even more. She whispers, "The doctor said the fever might come back tonight. Can we please just sleep together tonight?" Now our boy does not really want to argue
with a sick person, so he silently dries his hair with a towel. Seeing that he does not say no,
she finally lets her guard down. But right then, a sharp ringtone suddenly pierces the quiet room.
it completely ruins their moment. And of course, it is none other than Shen Buyu calling. Right now, she is soaking in a hot spring at her resort. Nobility and elegance drift with the steam. A beautiful blur. Breathtaking beauty captured in every single glance. Honestly, she might be even more captivating than Shen Buyu herself. An icy queen only intimidates people. But a stunner like her steals your soul in a second. Shen Buyu is officially here for business, but she is also taking a break. Relaxing, doing absolutely nothing. She calls Shen Buyu to tell her how amazing the springs are. She asks how her marriage issues are going. Her soothing voice travels through the phone with the splashing water. Shen Buyu glances at her busy husband. She quietly replies that they made progress, but asks why she sounds weak. Is she sick? Shen Buyu begins connecting the dots. A sick wife getting cared for? Obvious. No wonder she sounds so reserved. Her husband must be right next to her. Rest up then. I will visit you soon. Hanging up, she sighs. She is truly the type who loves seeing others happy. She once asked her assistant how to handle marital fights. Buy some spicy, seductive nightgowns. Shen Buyu originally wanted to share this pro tip with Shen Buyu. That proud girl? No shot.
She would never think of it.
But between couples, that is just harmless fun. Nothing shameless about saving a marriage. If a simple outfit works, you are honestly golden. Why wait around? Do not regret it later. The crushing pain of losing a soulmate is something she knows too well. She wants her friend happy. Memories flood her mind. Every detail is still incredibly clear. She remembers when they had a fight back in the day. Just a soft whisper made his ears turn bright red. Back then, even a tiny touch felt magical. It was enough to remember forever, and he was so easily comforted. You abandoned him. He must completely hate you. Maybe you do not deserve to be happy. Staring at her own reflection, she admits she wanted to find him.
Fear of his resentment keeps her away.
Her heavy sigh fades into the wind as the husband closes his laptop. He noticed her voice was extremely quiet during the call. He feels absolutely nothing. Ever since they slept in separate rooms, they became total strangers.
He realized this truth long ago, but Shen Buyu is still terrified he will misunderstand. A call from a close friend invites him to check out her resort. She quickly adds that this friend is a woman, but our boy doesn't even bother arguing. Lights out, time for bed. Honestly, it is crazy how things just drift apart. One simple question could have changed everything. Honestly, this miscommunication is low-key heartbreaking, but the room stays dark. Once you sleep in separate rooms, it becomes a habit. He turns his back on Shen Buyu. They look nothing like a married couple. Plus, this guest bed is way smaller than the master. It barely fits the two of them with absolutely zero room to spare. Husband, Mom called yesterday and she's really pushing us to have a baby. Shen Buyu hugs him from behind, seeking comfort in his broad, warm back. The closer she gets, the more she regrets separating. She missed him so much during those lonely nights. But her pride kept her from crawling back. Now too much time has passed. That distance slowly piled up until their entire marriage completely fell apart. She realizes how many years she wasted when she could have been in his warm embrace. Choosing isolation instead of love, she is finally tasting the bitter regret of her own actions. Talk about a self-inflicted wound. I do not want to talk about this anymore, he replies. There is no point. Back when he practically begged her for a kid, she always shut him down. But she refused, and honestly, a person's patience can only go so far. Once it is gone, it is gone. Things change. Now he is actually glad they don't have kids, meaning he can walk away without any strings attached.
No ties to bind him. Shen Buyu knows she has pushed him to the absolute limit.
Having hurt him so deeply, she quietly accepts all of his cold resentment.
She softly promises that once she recovers, she will prepare for pregnancy and have 2 kids if he wants. 1 boy, 1 girl, a perfect little family. Shen Buyu holds him close, feeling a spark, but she is way too weak right now. The fever might be gone, but her entire body still feels completely drained. It has been so long since they were close. Her soft whispers of husband are pure gentleness. Who would have thought this legendary ice queen could sound so soft? Honestly, his cold shoulder is crazy. Her soft hands start wandering restlessly, tracing lightly over his clothes.
Her touch sparks an undeniable tension. If she is going to play with fire, her illness must be gone.
In that case, let us head back to the master bedroom, he says, turning around. He grabs Shen Buyu's pale, delicate wrist. Sharing a bed is only natural for a married couple. She shakes her head, whispering that she doesn't want to go back because she can't bear to leave his side. Didn't you demand separate rooms in the first place? Now you're acting like the reasonable one. I was wrong, she murmurs, as his warm breath brushes against her.
Her earlobe tingles at his warm breath. Husband, she whispers, if you're uncomfortable, I can help.
No need. He shuts her down instantly. Denied her duty as a wife, Shen Buyu feels a sudden heavy wave of disappointment. But she gets it. Back when she demanded separate rooms, she crushed his pride just as badly. She tells herself to just try harder once she is fully recovered. He stays silent, and the room falls dead quiet. With her body still weak, Shen Buyu quickly begins to drift off. Knowing her husband is right beside her brings a rare sense of peace. His breathing slowly evens out as he drifts off into sleep half an hour later. But in the dead of the night, around 3 a.m., her fever flares right back up and she starts calling out for him in a daze. Our boy wakes up pretty quickly, instantly sensing something is off. He feels a burning heat pressed right against his back, so he turns around under the dim nightlight. Shen Buyu's brows are tightly furrowed, and her face is abnormally flushed with fever. Fine sweat beads across her forehead, forcing him to quickly jump out of bed to turn on the light. Luckily, he already had medicine, a water thermos, and a cup set up on the nightstand. Just in case of an emergency like this, he grabs the thermos and pours some water. He pops the pills out of the blister pack in one smooth motion, then gently helps Shen Buyu sit up. She is barely conscious in his arms, coughing and choking a bit as she tries to drink. He gently pats her back to soothe her, hoping the medicine will actually kick in. Because if her fever doesn't break soon, he'll have to drive her straight to the emergency room. Feeling her burning forehead, he whispers that he's going to get her a wet towel. But as he tries to stand, Shen Buyu wraps her arms around him, calling out for her husband. Please don't go anywhere, she begs. Just stay right here by my side. I don't want to lose you again, she mumbles, her delirious words hinting at some deep secret. But honestly, who would look too deeply into the random ramblings of someone burning up? Shen Buyu clings to him with all her might, as if he is her entire world. And at this exact moment, he's the only one who can give her any sense of comfort, so he just lets her feverish body press close against him. Seeing Shen Buyu this clingy is wild, since she hasn't acted like this in years. He wonders if she'll just go right back to her cold self once she recovers. She keeps crying out for her husband, but after an hour, her fever finally begins to break. Letting out a massive sigh of relief, he gently lays his sleeping wife back down. Tucking her in, he plants a soft kiss on her forehead with a heavy sigh. After checking her temperature a few more times to be safe, he finds himself wide awake. He checks his phone and sees it's already 4 in the morning, but there's nothing to scroll through. Tapping onto his best friend's profile, he sees it's completely filled with photos. Almost all of them feature a super adorable, chubby little girl. At this point, everyone his age has a happy family and a thriving career. Meanwhile, our boy is just stuck in limbo, and his own marriage is a total train wreck. Sometimes he can't help but wonder what life would look like if he'd never met Shen Buyu. If he hadn't left his startup team with his first major payout, where would he be? He'd probably be insanely successful, and maybe he'd have ended up with a sweet, supportive wife. Having a cute daughter of his own. Back then, some friends actually gave him advice. They suggested he just pretend to be broke, since his girlfriend didn't know about his money. If her family pulled through, great. If not, it wouldn't be his problem. Since they weren't even married, he could have just swooped in to comfort her while she was grieving.
That way, she would have ended up loving him even more. He would have saved his cash while earning her absolute devotion.
Talk about killing two birds with one stone, right? A perfect plan, but he chose the harder path, leading straight to his current misery.
But honestly, there's no point in blaming his past self now. He just scrolls through his friend's happy life until his phone slips from his hand as he sleeps. When morning comes, Shen Buyu is the first to wake up, realizing he rolled over during the night. He's facing her directly, so the very first thing she sees upon opening her eyes is his face. A wave of pure happiness washes over her, making all the lingering exhaustion from the fever completely vanish. Shen Buyu wants to reach out, but worries she might wake him up. She still remembers most of last night. The absolute best part was the feeling of snuggling right into her husband's arms. The more she thinks about it, the more she regrets how terribly she treated him before. I mean, a husband and wife are supposed to be the absolute closest people in the world. They should support each other as equals, without anyone playing power games. There is no division between them, especially since parents cannot stay around forever. For the rest of your life, only your partner truly understands your pain and joy. Around 9 in the morning, the husband wakes up, and Shen Buyu softly whispers a gentle good morning. But he does not say a word, simply reaching out to check her forehead for a fever. After freshening up, he brings her a warm, nutritious bowl of meat porridge for breakfast. Honestly, Shen Buyu completely understands her husband's sudden thoughtfulness here. He is treating her kindly because she is sick, not because she is his wife, but she still eats and takes her medicine. He then asks her to bring over his laptop since he has some urgent work to handle. Later that afternoon, Shen Buyu gets a call from her younger brother, Shen Mubai. He asks if she's coming home for dinner tonight, since everyone lives in the same city. Usually, Shen Buyu visits her parents every weekend, especially back when she and her husband were constantly fighting. She would stay there for weeks, but marriage is about building a completely new home together. If the wife is never around, this new home is basically bound to fall apart. So she tells her brother she cannot make it today because she is feeling under the weather. Shen Mubai immediately gets worried and asks what is going on. Hearing she has a fever, their worried mother quickly snatches the phone to ask if it broke yet.
Shen Buyu chats with her for a while before hanging up, but her mother is still incredibly anxious.
She sends her son over to check on his sister, and just 30 minutes later, he arrives. As the driver pulls up with Shen Mubai, the husband is in the kitchen planning a light dinner with the nanny. Since his wife is sick, he wants to make sure her food is easy on the stomach. Hearing the doorbell ring, the husband heads over to open it. He definitely did not expect his brother-in-law to show up. Now, if the husband is the quiet, calm type, then Shen Mubai is the exact opposite, acting incredibly arrogant and high and mighty. He demands to know where his sister is, completely ignoring the husband. Honestly, ever since their family got rich, the Shens have totally changed, as if they completely forgot all the kindness he showed them. Or maybe they just hate being reminded of how broke they used to be back in the day. They look down on him now. The husband calmly replies that she is upstairs resting after yesterday's fever. Shen Mubai storms upstairs and finds his sister looking absolutely pale and exhausted in bed. She looks so much worse than usual. He rushes over and she weakly calls out to him. The sister asks why he is visiting, and he replies that their mother sent him. He asks if she feels any better or if they need to head back to the hospital. She assures him the fever is gone, but looking at his fragile sister, Shen Mubai is furious. His worry instantly turns into anger, since he is used to looking down on everyone. He turns around and demands to know if this is how the husband takes care of her. The husband's face immediately darkens. Wow, this kid really thinks he can boss him around in his own house?
Talk about absolute ingratitude. The bedroom atmosphere instantly drops to below freezing.
A fight is about to break out, and honestly, the sheer disrespect here is wild. Some people return a small favor tenfold, while others turn massive kindness into pure resentment. They turn their backs the second they succeed. Our main character is just built too nice for this. Unfortunately, he had the bad luck of dealing with the second type of person. Honestly, in a marriage, the wife should handle issues with her own family. And the husband deals with his side. That is how things actually last. But our guy doesn't expect Shen Buyu to take his side, and he's not holding back. Shen Mubai, you've got some nerve. Don't you even know basic manners when entering a house? You can't even call me brother-in-law? You used to say it so easily. barging in just to interrogate me, anyone would think I'm working for you. If you think the Shen family can just order me around, you are not qualified.
Even your mother wouldn't dare talk to me like this, our guy says coldly.
They say the debt of a mother's love is as heavy as life itself. You can never fully repay it. Hearing this, Shen Buyu goes completely silent. Normally, our guy would have let it slide for his wife's sake. But since they've reached this point, he's flipping the table entirely, and honestly, I love to see it. Want to argue? Go ahead, tell me what I got wrong.
Forgot how humble you were before you got successful? He steps forward and presses him hard.
Shen Buyu is completely choked up because deep down, he knows he has no case. He turns to Shen Buyu and says, "Sister, since he can't take care of you, let's go home so you don't suffer." But then, our guy speaks up.
Shen Buyu sneers inwardly, thinking the husband is finally panicking because he's a loser. Does he honestly think he's worthy of his sister? The power dynamic is so lopsided.
He assumes our guy is just a pathetic subordinate, but our main character has backbone. He looks at Shen Buyu on the bed and says, "Sign the divorce papers before you leave. Once you recover, we'll go make it official at the Civil Affairs Bureau." Shen Buyu literally thinks he's hearing things. Since he is married too, he knows exactly what divorcing means, thinking our guy is a total fool.
Saying whatever he wants just because he's mad? Who is he to bring up divorce?
He's acting so high and mighty now to save his precious ego.
Shen Buyu secretly thinks he'll look pathetic when he comes crawling back to beg.
He looks down on our guy, but honestly, our main character is completely calm. He knows exactly what he's doing, but Shen Buyu's heart sinks instantly. She barely managed to use her fever to delay the divorce talk. Now, everything is spiraling toward the absolute worst-case scenario. The tension between these two is off the charts right now. On one side is her brother, on the other is her husband. She has to step in.
Shen Buyu smugly urges her. Let's just go home. Mom and Dad are worried. He's acting so proud, confident that family loyalty will win every single time. She looks at him and says, "People usually side with family, but you're both family to me."
It's time to be reasonable. Your brother-in-law actually took amazing care of me.
He brought me food and water, and when my fever returned last night, he stayed up until dawn looking after me. I know you're just worried about me.
But you shouldn't be taking your anger out on him. He's absolutely right. He's not some useless freeloader, and you need to show him some respect. If you still don't get it, let me put it another way. You're married now too. Would you want me interfering in your own household? Would you like it if I talked down to your wife like she's beneath me? And just like that, Shen Buyu's smug little ego is completely shattered. Any hope of seeing the brother beg after his brain-dead mistake is totally shattered. Wait, why did the sister suddenly flip? She calls him out, and the brother immediately complains that they are family. Fine, she threatens to make a quick call. If she screams at his pregnant wife, who does he defend? At this point, the brother's confidence completely tanks because his wife is literally pregnant. The answer's pretty obvious. The sister clears her throat, her voice softening just a little bit. She tells him he is wrong and needs to apologize, but this guy is way too arrogant. He only ever acts humble in front of his parents and sister.
This dude values pride over everything, especially since the husband looks completely indifferent.
Absolutely no shot. Like, how much does our main character even make anyway? But the MC genuinely does not care. The brother spits out some trash about the MC leaving, then tells his sister to stay healthy. He storms past the MC to leave the room, scowling like a child. Honestly, he acts so offended you would think he was the victim here. Anyway, he heads back home. It is family dinner time, and his parents are waiting. His mother, Wang Yun, immediately asks if her daughter's fever has gone down. He gives them a quick rundown of the situation, but spins it to focus entirely on the divorce. He frames it so his sister looks like a victim who is constantly defending her husband. He basically claims the MC is abusing her. Yet she still begged for mercy. This family is honestly so toxic. They actually convinced themselves that marrying her off completely repaid the Machias' life-saving favor. They think he's abusing their gratitude. The mom is furious. Does he think their daughter has no options? The brother tells his angry mother to calm down and not ruin her health. He calls our MC a poor loser who would never actually go through with a divorce. He claims the MC is just playing hard to get because he knows she loves him. He promises to put the MC back in his place once the sister recovers.
90% of her rage is aimed at the MC, with 10% for her daughter.
After all, how could a son-in-law ever compare to her precious son? Meanwhile, back in the bedroom, it is just the married couple left alone. Silence. He just turns to walk out. Terrified, he is grabbing the divorce papers. She completely ignores her weak, feverish body. She scrambles out of bed immediately.
Just as he is leaving, she hugs him from behind, begging him not to be angry.
She desperately promises to make her brother apologize.
Anything, as long as he does not divorce her, but he just flatly tells her to let go.
His voice is completely void of any emotion.
Since she is behind him, she cannot see his face, making her panic escalate.
All her words feel useless, so she desperately offers to call her brother right away. He feels her grip loosen and walks straight out, hearing her start the call behind him. Honestly, his clean study room is so empty it doesn't even have an ashtray. Sometimes having zero bad habits just makes it harder to find an escape. Even steel boilers need a pressure valve to keep from exploding, let alone actual human beings. Honestly, if you've ever tried smoking, you know that very first puff is just pure coughing. Absolutely zero comfort. It takes like half an hour to actually feel anything. And then, boom, a completely half-hearted apology text pops up on her phone. The message is so incredibly lazy, she just takes one quick glance and swipes it away. She looks out the window at the passing clouds, and honestly, nobody knows what's going through her head.
They always say the oldest sister is basically like a mother, and that's definitely the case for the Shen family.
Their parents were always busy back then, so Shen Buyu was the one raising Shen Mubai. And honestly, that's why even today, Shen Mubai still listens to his older sister. So of course, he ends up giving her this super forced, highly reluctant apology. Totally half-assed. Meanwhile, back in the master bedroom, Shen Buyu hangs up her phone. Her husband still isn't back, and she is starting to lose her mind with anxiety. She knows she's still sick, so her husband won't force her to sign those divorce papers just yet. Or drag her to court. But here's the thing, what happens when she finally recovers? A simple fever can only keep him around for so long, and the thought absolutely terrifies her. She's completely out of options. Backed into a corner like this, Shen Buyu actually comes up with a wild plan to keep herself sick for as long as possible. It's a crazy move, but honestly, there are things in this world way worse than a fever. Like having the love of your life back, only to lose them again. That's pure hell. With absolutely nobody to talk to, she ends up calling Shen Wanzi to vent. She explains all this messy family drama and the constant head clashing.
Shen Wanji goes silent for a moment on the other end, then says, Buyu, look, marriage is about building a life with the person you love. If you don't prioritize that new family, then it's bound to fall apart eventually, even when dealing with things like inheritance. A spouse should always come before siblings. You really can't have it both ways here. Since you have to make a choice, just choose what you actually want. Don't hesitate, not for a single second. And as Shen Wanji says this, her usually charming voice suddenly sounds incredibly sad, like she's speaking from personal experience. She's an only child and doesn't have a younger brother of her own. But the choice she had to make back then was way more brutal than this. Honestly, if you actually sit down and think about it, the answer's pretty obvious. Siblings grow up and start their own lives, and their priority shifts to their own families. So why break your husband's heart for a brother who probably wouldn't do the same for you? Anyway, let's change the subject. I'm honestly so bored out here at the resort. I'm heading back tomorrow. By the way, are you feeling any better yet? Send me your address so I can drop by. All right, talk to you later. With a little time left before dinner, she decides to do something completely reckless. She sneaks into the bathroom to take a shower. Now, normally, when you have a crazy fever, you just change your clothes. You do not take a shower. Even warm water can make you catch a chill. But by dinner time, her husband finally shows up, still bringing her some warm porridge and medicine. But the second he notices her fresh pajamas, his brow furrows. Did you take a shower? The usually ice-cold Shen Buyu actually avoids his gaze, totally looking like a guilty kid. She mumbles that she was just so sweaty, making up excuses on the spot. Ain't no way. She's literally making herself sicker just so he won't leave her. Seriously, how is this different from those toxic girls who slit their wrists over breakups?
Absolutely wild. If they had just gotten married, it would make sense. But at this point, Feng Shu is just laughing it off.
He warns her not to shower with a fever and calls her doctor.
He tells the private doctor to come right back, leaving the bedroom completely cold and quiet. Our gorgeous female lead just sits in bed, too scared to talk back. Right before sunset, that sharp female doctor makes another quick house call. She writes down a quick prescription, leaves some instructions, and heads out. Shen Buyu stares at the pills, her gorgeous eyes looking totally dim.
It is not because of the bitter taste. Nothing hurts more than losing your true love. Taking these meds means she cannot get pregnant anytime soon. And she desperately wanted a baby to keep her husband through responsibility.
Night falls, and after a shower, Feng Shu gets right to work on his laptop. Shen Buyu does not dare disturb him, just quietly watching from the bed.
She loves just being part of his life again and grabs the warm thermos. She pours him water, gently warning him not to drink tea late. Otherwise, he will stay awake. She notices he is just browsing news online.
Since he is not working, her delicate hands gently slide onto his shoulders.
She wants to massage him, but he orders her back to bed. His eyes stay glued to the screen as he totally rejects her sweet gesture. Shen Buyu freezes, then submissively backs off, noticing a gorgeous model on his wallpaper. For the first time, she is actually doubting her own insane visuals.
At 27, a woman is supposed to be in her absolute prime. But looking at him now, she recalls how she tried teasing him last night. Even though he tried to hold back, his breathing got incredibly heavy. That memory gives her some hope as she walks over to her vanity mirror. Her reflection is breathtaking, and her pale complexion only makes her look cuter. Her elegant tied-up hair looks so classy, but she wears a baggy nightgown. Yet even that loose outfit cannot hide her unreal body and flawless curves. Seriously, her tall, slender figure is top tier, basically a cheat code. She is still a total goddess, and that realization finally calms her down. But the funniest part, that gorgeous model wallpaper was just a random default background. Sometimes it shows scenic views, other times just cute animals. But this time it randomly picked a famous model shot. Late at night, Feng Shu finally shuts his laptop and crawls into bed. Instantly, his gorgeous wife snuggles up against him, smelling absolutely amazing. She says a friend is visiting tomorrow, but he just coldly tells her whatever. Seeing that model on his laptop earlier definitely triggered her competitive wife instincts. She actually sits up, leans over, and presses a sweet kiss onto his cheek. He was just closing his eyes to sleep when she kissed him. Our guy was already exhausted after waking up in the middle of the night. But then he suddenly feels this unbelievably soft, warm sensation. Her soft hair tickles his ear, making him think, what is she doing now? Under the dim nightlight, Shen Buyu flashes the most stunning, dreamy smile. She softly says it has been too long since she kissed her husband.
He seriously wonders if Shen Buyu has lost her mind.
Could this ice queen really say this? Not even as newlyweds. She was never this affectionate, and he expected her to be distant. But instead, he turns around and gently feels her forehead. No fever, yet somehow that simple touch hurts her deeply. Go to sleep, he says, pulling his hand back. I am tired. He tries to turn away, but Shen Buyu leans right against his broad chest, tracing his skin. Honestly, they have been married for years at this point. She knows him too well. Just like that, she kisses his lips. The dark room instantly gets incredibly tense. It is hot.
Not from her fever, though. Our guy's in a completely different mood.
He is still furious about Shen Mubai today. Taking his anger out on a sick person just feels wrong. But this sick wife seems completely out of her mind tonight. Give her an inch and she takes a mile. He quickly reacts. He grabs her warm hand and instantly flips her over. With just one hand, he pins both her pale wrists above her head. Pressing them into the soft pillow, they lock eyes. Shen Buyu's perfect, stunning curves are on full display right now. Her gorgeous face is no longer pale, flushed with a deep blush. She is 70% excited and 30% nervous. Can her sick body handle this? She is completely ready anyway. After all, she hasn't been a proper wife in a long time. With a million thoughts racing, Shen Buyu slowly closes her gentle eyes. She is completely vulnerable and waiting. Her pajamas are actually conservative. But her exposed swan-like neck is pure, silent temptation. Too bad the passionate storm she wants never actually comes.
Keep messing around and you are sleeping in the master bedroom, he warns.
I won't care what happens to you. A cold command. Shen Buyu feels that intense, aggressive heat quickly pull away. The tight grip on her wrists loosens, leaving a faint red mark.
It is the only proof of what just happened. She feels crushed.
She finally realizes that him pinning her down like that was just a warning. It was not about romance at all. Are you still mad about today? Don't be mad. It is bad for your health, and I will make Mumbai apologize. Shen Buyu hugs him tightly from behind, feeling his burning hot body. His heavy breathing proves she still has some effect on him.
She whispers softly in his ear, her voice gentle and soothing. Husband, can we please not divorce, starting right now? I will learn to be the perfect wife you always wanted.
I will be obedient and completely understanding. I will do whatever you ask, just do not divorce me.
Even if you treat me like a servant, I will gladly do it. Shen Buyu literally begs him, admitting she owes him everything and asking him to just picture their future. Even if they end up divorced and he finds some other woman just to get by.
That next woman might not treat him any better, even if she does love him. She says no one would ever put him before themselves, but she absolutely guarantees she will.
She promises to love him way more than her own life, no matter how hard it gets. She is even ready to start transferring her entire corporate net worth to his name tomorrow. Talk about direct. Honestly, signing over her wealth is her ultimate way of showing sincerity. She literally begs him for one more chance, asking him to remember all their years of marriage. Pleading for their marriage that has lasted so long, she waits, but our boy just ignores her, pretending to be fast asleep.
She knows he won't forgive her easily because of all the pain she caused him back then. But she is determined to prove herself with real actions, desperately wanting to give him a sweet goodnight kiss. But since he literally just warned her 2 minutes ago, she has to keep that desire buried deep inside. She quietly drifts off, reminiscing about the warm, loving embrace she has not felt in ages. Soon, she falls fast asleep, dreaming of the sweet, blissful days when they were first married and so close. Back then, he was totally obsessed with her, constantly refusing to let her leave the bed in the morning.
They would just cuddle on the sofa together and watch television.
Even the cheesiest romance shows playing on screen could not match how incredibly sweet they were back then. He pulls her tightly into his arms, kissing her perfect cheek. But then, he asks her if they should finally have a baby. Shen Buyu instantly realizes this is just a dream, but she desperately wants to stay inside. Too late, the dream shatters. She suddenly wakes up, staring blankly at the cold ceiling of their empty bedroom. She quickly checks the other side of the bed. Empty.
Our boy is already up and fully dressed.
Honestly, he did not get any sleep last night. He was too worried she would start burning up with a fever again. He even stayed up to take care of her.
Thankfully, her fever is completely gone now.
She throws off the covers, feeling much better. He is currently buttoning his shirt when she immediately rushes over to help him out. Shen Buyu has already picked out his coat and tie, ready to help dress her man.
She is keeping her promise.
Our ice-cold female CEO is literally transforming into an obedient, gentle wife right before our eyes. Elegant, understanding, and incredibly devoted. It is actually crazy to see this side of her. Her delicate, skilled hands quickly tie his necktie and neatly adjust his collar. If she were not so afraid of being rejected, she would have kissed him right there. But our MC has no time for this because there is trouble with his supplier. Since her fever is gone, he prepares to head out and handle the business trip personally. Meanwhile, a private jet slowly lands at the airport with a luxury limo already waiting on the tarmac. An extremely elegant and glamorous woman steps out, wearing a mysterious, stunning black dress that screams final boss energy. She carries herself with absolute confidence, her dress swaying gracefully as she walks. Oozing endless charm, she steps inside as her female assistant holds the door open.
She vanishes into the car, leaving everyone absolutely spellbound by just that one quick glance. Back home, the housekeeper is so relieved to see the couple coming down for breakfast together.
She is just happy their cold marriage is finally thawing, and low-key relieved her job is safe. The couple keeps fighting so much that even their maid is worried they will get a divorce. Worried about her high-paying job, the maid watches as Shen Buyu takes over her duties.
Shen Buyu serves her husband hot millet porridge, filling the morning with a sweet aroma. A cozy family vibe fills the air, but Fang Shu just ignores her the entire time. Still, Shen Buyu feels that having a quiet, simple breakfast with her husband is enough. It is true happiness, especially after they both survived a near-death experience.
Only then do you realize how precious this is. But unfortunately, the peace does not last.
Then the phone rings. It is her mother, Wang Yun.
She asks if her daughter is feeling better, their voices drifting over to Fang Shu's ears.
Fang Shu freezes mid-sip, suddenly remembering that apology text he got from Shen Mubai. He has a gut feeling his mother-in-law is calling for something way more than just a health check. Sure, he does not doubt that Wang Yun genuinely loves and cares for her daughter, but his gut is rarely wrong, and hearing Wang Yun's name brings back old memories. He remembers her lying in a hospital bed back when they first married, calling him her favorite son-in-law.
She even told him that if Shen Buyu ever threw a tantrum, he should come tell her.
Back then, he seemed to have hit the jackpot, treated like royalty at the Shen house. He did not have to lift a finger, but everything changed the moment the Shen family got rich. That sweet son-in-law title vanished, replaced by her coldly calling him Fang Shu. Even his father-in-law went completely silent. Honestly, the rich family glow-up turning people toxic is a classic trope. And now, her precious son was forced to apologize to Fang Shu. Think she will let that slide? No shot. He knows she won't. As he finishes his breakfast, Shen Buyu puts her phone down for a second. She scoops him another bowl of porridge while asking her mother what she was saying. After handing him the food, she tells her mom to go ahead.
Shen Buyu honestly misses her parents, but she has a friend visiting today. She decides to visit them tomorrow instead. Fun fact, she is actually the favorite child, not her brother.
As the eldest daughter born during the peak of her parents' romance, she got all the love. But on the other end of the line, Wang Yun is currently seething with rage. Hearing her beloved daughter serving Fang Shu food sends her temper through the roof. Why hire a maid if she is still doing chores? And besides, he is a grown man. Can he not even scoop his own food? Are his arms and legs broken or something? In their eyes, Fang Shu is just a gold-digging freeloader who managed to marry up.
He is totally unworthy, yet he has the nerve to let her daughter wait on him. Does he think he is an emperor? No wonder her daughter always runs back home. She is tired of seeing her daughter get ordered around. Honestly, they should just get a divorce. It is not like they need his money, and her daughter is only 27.
She is in her prime, and she could easily find a much better man to marry. She tells Shen Buyu to come back home the moment she feels fully recovered. She says she has things to discuss, but Shen Buyu just asks how her dad is doing. He is doing fine, apparently just spending his days fishing and taking care of his flowers. If Fang Shu knew what she was thinking, he would literally laugh out loud. Sometimes toxic people are so dumb, they accidentally help you out, even if they do not mean to. By the time the call ends, our boy is done eating. With Shen Buyu recovered, there is a mountain of work waiting for him at the office. No weekend break, just endless corporate drama waiting for him. A luxury limo pulls up, dripping in pure wealth, from the logo to the custom interior. But honestly, all that luxury is just a backdrop for the elegant woman sitting inside. Shin Wanji calls up Shen Buyu to coordinate their arrival, but here is the thing. Shen Buyu quickly texts back, leaving Wanji with one burning question in her mind. What kind of guy could actually melt a total ice queen like Shen Buyu? Every single text screams that she has to have him, which is honestly hilarious. Wanji knows her friend has her pick of the crop. We are talking rich, handsome, elite bachelors, and iceberg women like her usually do not budge. They do not just throw away their pride and chase after a guy. Especially since Shen Buyu is literally flawless, with the looks, body, and insane wealth. She has endless options, so maybe this is real love. But then, the car stops.
Shen Buyu cleared the security gate earlier as Fang Shu finishes breakfast, getting ready for work. On their short walk from the living room to the front door, she grabs his arm. She softly asks what he wants for lunch, offering to drop it off at his office. She is playing the perfect, loving wife here, with zero trace of her usual coldness. He tells her to just stay home, saying he does not want her catching a cold. Talk about a classic dense husband move right there.
Shen Buyu just smiles because she knows this is his own awkward way of caring. As they chat, a sleek black luxury sedan pulls right up to the front gate. She actually mentioned last night that a close friend of hers would be visiting today.
Fang Shu did not think much of it. Their social circles are completely different now. The massive gap in status and money has basically kept their worlds completely apart.
To him, any friend of hers is just going to be a total stranger.
But oh boy, he was not ready for this plot twist. This visitor is the most familiar stranger from his past. The car door opens. A gorgeous, elegant figure steps out, her stunning dress swaying gently in the wind. Shen Wanji steps onto the driveway, but the moment she locks eyes with him, it feels like the entire world just stops. Time literally begins to flow backward. Floodgates of memories burst open, taking them back to their very last fireworks show together. Those memories shoot up and explode into the most beautiful, brilliant colors in his mind, lighting up the dark night. You see, there are some people you can never forget. Even if you grow old and gray, or get lost in a crowd of millions, the second your paths cross, your racing heart will instantly recognize them. It is her old love, Fang Shu. He had imagined this exact reunion 1,000 times. Under the pouring rain, a sunny afternoon, or maybe a busy downtown street. At their favorite old hangout spot. But all of those fantasies were completely useless. After years of giving up hope, fate drops his lost love right on his doorstep. Talk about insane timing. They used to have the most perfect, beautiful romance. But now, they just stand there, staring at each other like total strangers. His childhood sweetheart, his absolute first love, the past he tried so hard to bury. Seeing her again is like a sudden breeze, flipping through those dusty, colorful memories of his youth. The dust shakes off, hitting his chest with a heavy, suffocating wave of pain. It sweeps up the long-buried ashes of his past, scattering them everywhere.
It is the remains of a love long dead. Shen Buyu breaks the silence, introducing them.
Meet Shen Wanji, and Wanji, this is my husband, Fang Shu. Talk about ultimate drama. The punishment Shen Wanji avoided for years finally hits, and honestly, it hurts way worse than she expected. All because she abandoned the guy who stood by her side for all those years. Now, out of nowhere, he is someone else's husband, and his new wife is literally introducing him to her. While Wanzi is completely numb with pain, the guy just nods like it is no big deal and speaks up. He excuses himself for work and leaves them to chat.
He strides right past Shen Wanji without a second glance to grab his car from the garage.
The engine roars to life and those red brake lights flash as he pulls away into the street. He vanishes right out of their sight, and Buyu has to call Wanji's name twice to get her attention. Shen Buyu calls her name again, and only then does Wanji finally snap back to reality.
Do they actually know each other?
Wanji's eyes are swirling with a chaotic storm of emotions that Buyu cannot quite read. Just old classmates who lost touch years ago. She laughs it off, saying he probably forgot she even exists, but half-truths are always the best lies. Being classmates was true, and the fact that he completely moved on from her is very real too. But whether he actively buried his past memories or just naturally forgot her is the real mystery here. At this point, Shen Buyu's intuition is screaming that something is totally off with these two. It is definitely not that simple, but her husband was so incredibly calm and collected just now. No disappointment, no excitement, not even anger. He treated her like an absolute stranger, and his act was completely flawless. It matched Wanji's story perfectly, and just like that, the awkward topic is smoothly shifted away. The two stunning women walk into the living room together, both looking absolutely gorgeous.
They sit on the sofa, and Buyu mentions she just needs a couple more days of rest.
The housekeeper notices they have a guest over and quickly brings out some fresh fruit and hot tea. Wanji's mind is racing, desperately trying to find a way to ask about his life these past years. She brings up a resort recommendation, hoping to steer the conversation back toward him.
Buyu sighs, saying going alone is too boring, so they should go together once she recovers. She thinks a couple's trip will help spark their marriage, especially since Buyu wants to win his heart back. Wanzi mentions that from what she just saw, they do not really seem to have any marriage issues. Wanji takes a sip of her tea, but her mind is so chaotic she can barely even taste it. Wanji is completely zoned out, while Buyu lets out a soft sigh. She admits he is only being nice because she's sick, and he is not really letting his guard down. Once she recovers, his temporary kindness will vanish. She anxiously asks Wanji what she should do since her time to fix things is running out. Buyu is clearly desperate enough to ask anyone for advice, prompting Wanji to slowly set down her cup. Wanzi tells her she cannot help with so little information and asks for the whole story. As the tea ripples in her hands, Wanji sits back and listens to Buyu tell her tale. Hearing another woman talk about the man she once loved makes Wanji's heart twist in pure agony. This is straight-up mental torture for her because she was supposed to be the main character here. Instead, she is not even a supporting character anymore, just a nameless face in his life now. If getting back what you lost is the ultimate happiness, then losing your true love has to be the absolute worst. Wanzi knows deep down that this is her ultimate karma, and it is low-key heartbreaking to watch. She always knew he would grow into a successful, powerful man who did not need her anyway. But hearing that he literally risked his entire net worth just to save his new wife's life? And listening to Buyu regret all the stupid arguments and drama she created in their marriage. Hearing that she even refused to have kids and made him sleep in a separate room is just wild. Shen Wanji is low-key relieved, but mostly she is just straight-up furious. How could anyone treat our guy like this? Back in the day, she never let him suffer even a tiny bit. Even if she took a step back, saving his mother's life is a massive debt. Basic respect was the bare minimum. Honestly, Shen Buyu totally deserves where she ended up, and I am living for the karma. Pure self-inflicted misery. Now, Shen Wanzi is beating herself up too, realizing she spent years running away. If she had known his life was this miserable, she would have come back way sooner. Meanwhile, our main character slows down his car. The traffic light ahead is glowing red. At this exact intersection, he can choose to make a left turn. U-turn or turn right. This man has literally altered his entire life path for two different women. Yet neither of them brought him a happy ending. One was Shen Buyu. He abandoned his startup dreams for her, wasting years. The other name is so familiar yet strange. Shen Wanzi, his childhood sweetheart, the girl he promised to go to college with. But out of nowhere, she vanished from his life completely. Absolutely zero news. Then, graduation came. His grades were top tier, easily letting him enter any elite university. Yet he stubbornly stayed right at their agreed spot, watching the leaves grow and wither year after year. No matter how many seasons passed, the truth was right there. It is not that he did not know. He just refused to believe she was never coming back. A 30-second red light is not enough time to process all that heavy trauma. Suddenly, a horn blares. Some impatient driver is already honking on the first second of the green light. Swept forward by the heavy traffic, he just drives straight. That calm face, just a mask. Underneath, a lot of miserable days left him completely shattered. He had to lick his wounds alone, waiting for them to scab over. The scar proves she was there. It lets him start a new life, but back when they first parted, dreaming of her every single night, he would constantly talk in his sleep, calling her name. Then, college came. His roommates heard his quiet mumbles. The next day, they would teasingly ask who this gorgeous Wanji girl was, joking that he was hopelessly in love. But seeing his serious face, they realized some things are just not jokes. Especially the deepest story in his heart, 10 years of childhood love was just too heavy. Or maybe the memories she left were just too beautiful. He never saw her at college. He felt so useless. She did not even give him an explanation or a simple goodbye. In the end, he was still foolishly waiting. Did she even care about their promise? No one cared. He was simply the biggest fool under heaven. And honestly, it hurts to watch. Eventually, he tried to escape. Developing a night running habit, he pushed from 3 kilometers to 5.
He just wanted to be exhausted, hoping for one night of dreamless sleep. Eventually, he stopped appearing in our boys' dreams. Some say if their fate hasn't fully ended, then even if they are forced apart, they will constantly meet in their sleep. But when those dreams stop, the connection is dead. For years, they never cross paths. Until today.
As they pull up to the office, his assistant Cheng Ching notices her boss is acting super gloomy.
Literally, like a storm cloud ready to burst. Lately, things have been so heavy.
Taking care of Shen Buyu meant his work piled up, but he grinds through it.
By afternoon, he's finally caught up, but then the real nightmare drops. The suppliers are hiking up prices, forcing our main character to negotiate in person. But raw material costs are fixed, zero room to budge. To make things worse, his new business hasn't brought in cash yet, leaving him with a massive funding gap. This is wild. Leaving the supplier's office, Chen Qing takes the wheel. Our boy is in the back, frowning. Evening falls. Beautiful sunset. It coats the entire bustling city in a warm oil painting filter. He rolls down the window, letting the fresh evening wind blow directly into the car. His mind is somewhere else. The company is literally crashing. Yet he can't focus. During negotiations, when they hit him with that massive price hike, he barely even flinched. How much worse can it get? Like getting shot in the arm.
But the real pain is in the heart. Chen Qing wants to comfort him, but can't.
She saw the numbers, and a regular employee like her has zero cash anyway.
Even if she emptied her tiny savings, it's a drop in the ocean.
Looking at her boss's exhausted face, she wonders if the company is actually doomed. Plot twist, he isn't even stressing.
And Chen Qing isn't worried about her job. She just wants to keep seeing him.
He forces himself back to reality. Who can he borrow cash from? His wife Shen Buyu is the absolute first person he crosses off. If he took her money, he would have had to swallow his pride when Shen Bai demanded his signature the other day. Selling his dignity for cash? No way! He pulls out his phone, scrolls through his chat list, and immediately spots a familiar WeChat contact. No small talk, no polite filler. His very first message gets straight to borrowing money. The reply comes back instantly with 3 words: how much? In this life, besides family and romance, true friendship hits different. Quality over quantity. With our boy's quiet personality, having 1 or 2 ride-or-die brothers is a massive win. He texts over the amount, but his friend can only cover half. He adds a condition. The money is not free. He tells him to get over here and drink. Name a place. Since he's married, his wife keeps him on a tight leash. He suggests hanging out in his backyard so they won't bother anyone. Just looking at these texts, it is obvious he is super close with this couple. Honestly, if Shen Wanji saw this, she would laugh, remembering how this constantly bickering pair from high school, honestly, high school friends hit different. Our boy texts back, relieved he has secured half. He will figure out the rest. Chen Qing breaks the silence, asking if they are heading back, grabbing dinner, or going home. Chen Qing tries to start a conversation, but Ning Yuan's next words completely throw her off guard. Dropping by her place is way too sudden, and honestly, he has got 2 massive problems spinning in his head. He blurted it out without thinking, mostly because he felt bad seeing her run around with him all day. It is rush hour. Finding a cab is basically impossible, and kicking her out right now would be brutal. Driving off to his buddy's place alone would make him a total jerk, so he just tells her to drive home. He figures he can just drive to his buddy's house afterward, but while he is being casual, she totally misinterprets it. She starts panicking. Did the boss actually realize she likes him? Wild thoughts start running laps in her mind. Honestly, you can't blame her. Dressed in her sleek office wear, Chen Qing is an absolute looker. Sure, she is no Shen Buyu, who is basically the ultimate, untouchable ice queen of this series. But she is easily a solid 9 out of 10, super cute, expressive, and loyal. Good thing Ning Yuan is completely distracted. Otherwise, he definitely would have noticed her adorable ears turning completely bright red from sheer embarrassment.
She wants to tell him she is not some easy girl. Dating is fine, but there is a catch.
He needs to get a divorce first. She even starts stuttering, telling him that this is not right. But Ning Yuan just cuts her off, saying it is totally fine. So Qing forces herself to focus on driving.
She plans to lay her cards on the table once they park. She is absolutely not that kind of casual girl. She is not someone you can just play with and discard. She will date him, but only if he clears up his personal life first. With her speech fully prepared in her head, they crawl through traffic, and 30 minutes later, they arrive at her apartment.
But the reality is a complete comedy. Ning Yuan literally just pulls her out of the driver's seat. Then he hops in and drives away, leaving poor Chen Qingqing completely frozen in the wind. Talk about awkward.
So that is what her boss actually meant? Man, humans are seriously the worst.
We are always terrified of things getting messy, yet secretly disappointed when absolutely nothing happens.
Poor Chen Qingqing is completely overwhelmed by the embarrassment of overthinking it, mixed with a tiny bit of disappointment. Her face is redder than the sunset. Meanwhile, Ning Yuan doesn't head straight to his buddy's place just yet.
Instead, he makes a detour and heads to a kid's toy store at the shopping mall.
He grabs a nice gift, hops back in the car, and finally drives straight over. Once he arrives, he rings the doorbell, and the door is opened by a gorgeous young mother with an amazing figure with a cute little girl standing right beside her. She is absolutely adorable. You can honestly tell how happy someone is just by looking at their vibe.
Their energy and facial expressions usually give away their entire home life.
And the warmth of this household is so strong that even Ningguan, an outsider, can feel it immediately.
She smiles and says they knew he was coming. Yang Chun has already ordered barbecue and bought drinks. He is busy prepping everything in the backyard, but she warns Ning Yuan not to let him drink too much tonight. Since they were classmates in high school, Ning Yuan is basically part of the family at this point. Skipping the polite small talk, Ning Yuan laughs and tells her he cannot make that promise. Today, he is actually here to borrow some money, so how much they drink is completely up to Young Chun. So many couples fight over money drama, like lending secretly to friends or helping out relatives without asking. He brings it up casually right away, wanting to make sure borrowing money does not cause any family tension. Because that is the last thing he wants. She just laughs and agrees that drinking in moderation is best. Even after hearing that he is here to borrow cash, her warm smile does not fade for a second. Her tone remains completely friendly, which finally lets Ning Yuan breathe a huge sigh of relief. Just then, the adorable little girl runs over, cheering Uncle Ning's name in pure excitement. She absolutely loves him because he always brings the coolest, most unique toys every single time he visits. Ning Yuan squats down with a huge smile, scooping the little kid up into a warm hug. Holding her like this temporarily cures his deep, long-standing longing of wanting a child of his own. After a sweet moment, he pulls out the beautifully wrapped music box to hand it over. Fang Xiu hands her the gift to unwrap, and her eyes literally light up with pure joy. Her mom just laughs helplessly because every single gift he brings is always a hit. No wonder the kid is usually super shy, but clings only to him. A guy like this, still not having his own kid, is low-key heartbreaking. Ning Yuan knows about his messy marriage with Shen Buyu through her husband. The star of their class back then is now suffering worse than anyone. While the girl plays with her music box, Fang Xiu heads to the backyard. The sky is dark, but the backyard is fully lit. With the table packed with snacks and drinks, they are clearly drinking until dawn. No wonder Ning Yuan warned him not to drink too much with her husband. Yang Chen laughs, asking why he is so late. The food is already cold, so get over here and drink. Fang Xiu tosses his suit jacket onto a stool and sits down. He grabs a cold beer and clinks glasses with his buddy. Then he asks if Yang Chen discussed the loan with his wife first. Of course, Yang Chen replies. We're old classmates. She would never say no. Especially after that huge red envelope you gave for our kid's full moon party. But honestly, money is tight for me too, so this is all I can lend. Yang Chen clinks his glass, knowing everything is understood without words. Fang Xiu nods. His friend has a family to protect now. With a wife and daughter to care for, he completely understands. Plus, when someone actually lends you money, you cannot complain it is not enough. That would make him an ungrateful jerk. Happy people never truly understand the struggles of others. Yang Chen heard rumors, but cannot fully grasp his pain. He asks if Fang Xiu's wealthy CEO wife is really that heartless to ignore him. They are married, after all. She should at least help him out.
Yang Chen thinks borrowing is a weird word for a married couple. He calls it support, especially since Fang Shu helped her for years. Now that things are reversed, life is brutal. Fang Shu says her money is hers. Fang Shu responds calmly, but Yang Chen asks if she looks down on him. Yang Chen knows marriages are way smoother when the man is the main breadwinner. Seeing his buddy struggle, Yang Chen refuses to play the peacemaker. A man should make a clean break. After all, his buddy has the looks. And while his career is not massive, he can easily support a happy family. But it is not about career. Shen Buyu has just changed too much. It is too complicated to explain, but if he had married Shen Wanji, they would probably have 2 kids by now and have arranged a family marriage. But now, Fang Shu has nothing. Alcohol really brings out the past. Honestly, Fang Shu and Shen Wanji were literally the perfect childhood sweethearts back then. Their bond was so beautiful, it made people jealous, even getting them reported. But when their parents showed up, they just smiled and brushed it off. They said the kids had always been close, and their grades were excellent anyway. The issue quietly faded. Fang Shu just drinks in absolute silence. After all these years, they might meet again, but they can never go back. So they agree to let the past stay in the past. Honestly, drinking from 7 to 11 p.m.? That's only 4 hours. That is barely enough time for 2 bros to catch up over drinks, and he knows it. Besides, he has to show some respect to the lady of the house, so they call it a night. If they keep going, Yang Chen's wife Ning Yuan is going to ban them from the house next time. Yang Chen is low-key bummed because they still have beer left and he wanted to keep going. He is not done hyping things up either, but then he remembers his wife and daughter. Knowing they are tucked in bed waiting for him, he has to drop the all-nighter idea. So the 2 grown men start cleaning up the trash. Once the place is spotless, Yang Chen lets out a loud beer burp and tells our guy that he is staying the night. No leaving allowed, so just pick any room on the first floor while Yang Chen heads upstairs with Ning Yuan. He tells him not to worry about anything because he even has some fresh clothes ready to borrow. Our boy can just change into those. It is super late and they have both had a few drinks. Yang Chen is honestly just worried about his safety, and our guy never plays polite with his best bro. He nods and accepts the offer. Even though our boy is technically married, he does not have a cozy, happy home acting as a safe harbor like Yang Chen does. His marriage is just a thin string holding a drifting kite. Honestly, any place to sleep is enough. Meanwhile, deep into the night, the living room lights at our guy's actual home are still shining. His wife, Shen Buyu, is sitting on the couch in a loose nightgown after taking a shower. She looks like she's waiting for him, her brows slightly furrowed in deep thought. Showing how worried she actually is, she wants to dial his number right now. But she hesitates. See, when someone has completely failed to do their duty as a spouse, trying to act like a caring wife suddenly feels wrong, and she's low-key feeling guilty. Still, after hesitating 3 times, she finally bites the bullet and calls him to check in. As the empty ringing tone plays, she finally realizes how things felt during their past silent treatments. Back when she would randomly storm off to her parents' house without saying a word. His non-stop calls would ring through the quiet night, sounding so desperate and rushed. Back then, she just found it annoying. But talk about instant karma, now the tables have completely turned. Now she finally understands what the guy on the other end of the line was going through. She realizes how incredibly anxious he must have been. Before the call even connects, Shen Buyu is completely drowned in overwhelming guilt. Meanwhile, back at the other house, the guys finish clearing the backyard bottles, and our boy crashes in a first-floor guest room. Moments later, Yang Chen walks in with a fresh set of clothes, telling him to take them. He says his wife bought them, and they are completely unworn. Hearing this, our guy immediately pulls his hand back, telling him to keep his wife's gifts. He says he will just manage for one night, but Yang Chen tosses the clothes onto the bed anyway. He laughs and says ever since he got married, Ning Yuan buys all his clothes anyway. It is honestly hard to find anything he bought himself, so he tells him to just wear it. He promises to tell his wife later so she can just grab him a few more sets. Besides, our guy can just bring her a nice gift next time. Why is he being so tense? Ning Yuan is an old classmate after all. She is not petty. Our boy just smiles helplessly. Like, why is he flexing his happy marriage while lending clothes? Honestly, this couple is too wholesome. Our boy decides to wear them with absolutely zero guilt. Yang Chen sighs, thinking about how overly cautious his best friend always is. He is always so terrified of causing marinade drama, whether it is borrowing cash or even borrowing a simple shirt. Man, back before they got married, they used to hang out constantly. Yang Chen laughs, telling him he can't drink every day now that he's married. His wife might get mad. But his buddy just laughs and points him to the guest bathroom. Yang Chen goes upstairs to cuddle with his wife. Silence. Downstairs, our guy tries to clear his head. He washes off the alcohol smell and changes into spare clothes. Just as he lies down, his phone buzzes. He tries to ignore it, but they'll clearly call until dawn, forcing him to pick up. Shen Buyu nervously tries to speak. Normal wives would set hard boundaries. They'd yell about the time and lock him out. But she feels she hasn't been a good wife. She once abandoned him for weeks, leaving him completely alone. Now she's softly asking him to come home. He feels nothing, coldly telling her he's crashed at a friend's place. He's too tired. Panicking, she begs him to wait. She offers to drive over, but he hangs up. Tossed on the nightstand, the phone goes dark. Between the company's financial crisis and all the ghosts of his past, he's drained. Seeing his ex again completely exhausted his soul. No wonder he drank so much. Alcohol is his only sleeping pill tonight. Soon he drifts off. Back at the mansion, the maid asks if she wants a snack. The lights are still blazing, which never happens this late. Sitting alone, Shen Buyu just shakes her head and heads upstairs. In the empty master bedroom, his faint smell still lingers on the sheets. She clings to it, terrified of how fast their marriage is falling apart. At first, she thought his distance was just due to her illness. But staying out all night? Her mind starts spinning completely out of control at the thought. Is this friend a guy or a girl? She knows he's definitely not the type to cheat on her. Yet staying out shows his attitude. This mansion is no longer a home. Plus, her intuition screams his bond with Shen Wanji isn't simple. The way he froze when he saw her, the drama is starting. Dread settles over her. Tossing and turning, she finally drifts into a restless daze. Then comes the nightmare. She dreams he divorces her and immediately replaces her. This new girl is gentle, supportive, and perfect for him. They flirt in the kitchen, completely inseparable. Whispering sweet nothings, they soon have a baby. Shen Buyu gasps awake, drenched in cold sweat. Thank God it was just a dream. In her dream, she is stuck, watching her own life in third person, completely powerless. No voice, no scream, just forced to look. Honestly, this is low-key heartbreaking. Her own husband is being snatched away by another woman, along with every shred of love that belonged to her. And the night just won't end. Shen Buyu is wide awake, silently begging her husband to just come back.